All right, so I'm going to try to break down these rotations for you to make them as easy as possible. Now we need to be able to understand the rules. We have these rules here. We have two sets, counterclockwise and clockwise. So you can either have your rotation going with the clock or against the clock. All right, the rotation of that clock, or the hands of the clock. And I want you to realize that a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation is the exact same as a 270-degree clockwise rotation. All right, notice how our y's and our x's will flip, and our y will change its sign. Well, y will change its sign, and x and y will flip. Same thing. 180 degrees. All that happens is our signs flip. So I want to look at number three for our sheet here. And it says that we have a rotation of 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. So what I want to do first is make sure that we record all of the coordinates of each of these points from the shape on our graph. What I'd like you to do first is label each point. You can do A, B, C, X, Y, Z, whatever you want to name them or label them. I want you to label these just like this. So A is at -3, 5, B is at -5, 2, and C is at -1, 2. All right. I'm going to do this on the board then. I have these coordinates. Let's use a different color. Let's use ink. And again, I have -3, 5 for A. So A is -3, 5. -3, +5. That's going to be my A. B then was -5, 2. -5, +2. That's B. And then C is -1, 2. -1, +2. There's C. And then we have our triangle. Now, since we have to rotate this 90 degrees counterclockwise, we don't care about anything here other than 90 degrees counterclockwise. And what that's saying is that each of our coordinates, each of these three coordinates, two things are going to happen. The x and the y from our coordinate, they're going to flip, and then the y is going to change from either a positive to a negative or a negative to a positive. So, since I need to switch these, I'm going to have -y, +x. So my y and my x are going to switch. So instead of -3, 5, I'm going to have 5, -3. So that's my x and my y flipping positions. And then it says my y has to change. So since it's positive, it's going to go to a negative. Now, if that was a negative y to begin with, it's going to turn into a positive. So don't let the negative make you think that they all need to be negative. It's just flipping the sign. So -5, -3, I'm going to go to -5. Go to -3. That's going to be A prime. Again, A prime. We have that mark, that little tick mark, indicating we've done something to the shape. Now with -5, 2, with point B, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to flip the x and the y. So 2 being our y is now going to be our x. And -5 being our x is now going to be our y. And then 2 is going to turn into a negative. So I have -2, -5. And that's going to be B prime. Connect those. And then for C, flip x and y. So now instead of -1, 2, I have 2, -1. Then I'm going to flip my sign. I have -2, -1. That's going to be C prime. Now notice, C, for both of them, It's always the same. It's closer distance. It's the closest point. And then A and B. A is way far out here, way far up here. So they stay in the same position as before. Now, say you get caught up here and you forgot to flip one of these. Say you forgot to make this C. Instead, you made a mistake and you wrote down 2, -1. Well, 2, -1, C prime. Does this shape, the original shape, and our rotated shape, do they look the same? So it's really easy to understand or see if you got one of these points wrong, because your shape won't look anything like the original shape. So if it looks different, then you did something wrong. And if we're rotating 90 degrees, oh, we shouldn't be all the way over here. That's 180 degrees. So you're gonna have to get familiar with those different things. So what I'd like you to do as you're going forward with this, with all of these points and all of these shapes, is I want you to write down all of the coordinates. Label the points, whether it's ABC or CBA or however you want to write your name. Just label each point, write them down, and then label how you're going to rotate this object. And usually it'll tell you, rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. Well, then we're going to use this rule. You know, we need to really read and see what the question's asking us to do. All right, so I want you to go forward practicing this with all of your other shapes on that rotations practice sheet. If you have any questions, please ask.